Hey Terensu fans, it's me again. Since that Ultimate Mortal Kombat 2, what is Ultimate Mortal Kombat 2? That Mortal Kombat 2 tutorial vid I did, it's like it's had a rebirth in views and popularity, and someone must have posted the thing on a forum somewhere because I've been getting tons of likes and comments and subs off that video. To show my appreciation, I thought I'd go ahead and round out the trifecta and do Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 because it also has a very stubborn pain in the butt AI, which is actually very simple to beat once you know the trick. So I've just started up the game here and we're on regular normal difficulty. It essentially, you end up at just about the same place no matter what the operator has the difficulty set for. It just increases until it gets to very hard at the top of the ladder anyway, and you use the same techniques to get around it. But we're just going to stick with medium because it's a tutorial, and we're just assuming that like maybe you bought this thing in the arcade collection and you're like, dang, this is really a lot harder than I remember, and you want that achievement, but you can't beat Jade. Jade is the one that people complain about a lot in this game. So I would start off, if you just want to beat the game like I did last time, if you just want to beat the game, you can do it with anybody. Sektor is easy, but Smoke is really easy because of his better combos and better combo ability. He has a containment move that we're going to abuse. Where's Jade? I want him. Here, we'll even go to Master. We'll go to Master just to so we'll have a lot of room to kind of show off techniques and that kind of thing. Alright, so we're on Master Tower, so it's going to be a little bit harder than normal, say if you pick Novice or one of the others. But Katana is still going to give me a tiny bit of leeway. And we're just going to punish her relentlessly, or as much as she will let us. It will probably be enough to beat her if I had to guess. Now the CPU in MK3, or UMK3, is a little different than 2. It doesn't always walk towards you. If it does move towards you, it prefers to run. And that's fortunate because it's vulnerable to a sweep. You can always sweep a run-in opponent. But one of the best ways, if you just want to beat the game, is to get the CPU into the neutral, as I like to call it. Just a neutral mode, which is kind of hard to show on level 1 because the CPU does some weird things that it doesn't do for the majority of the levels. But again, this is Ed Boon game philosophy. Any idiot who walks up and puts a quarter in should be able to beat the first level. So even on the hard tower, you know, it's going to give you some leeway. And a level 2 Jade is a bizarre thing. I'm going to throw a projectile and see if she does that thing that everyone hates her for. Oh, she did not. So we'll just pop her. I'll do it again. And we'll pop her. There she goes. That's normally what happens to you if you try a projectile on Jade. A lot of people hate her for it. But just Robot Smoke here has a lot of abusable things that he can beat the CPU with. The spear is good for catching him in weird situations, like if Jade, for example, whiffs a shadow kick, or you know, you've just landed a few high punches and they're bouncing back, kind of like with Punch Spear and MK2. There's just a lot of situations you can kind of get a feel for when they'll fall for that spear. Also, a lot of the times, if you catch the CPU outside of that neutral range that I'm going to tell you about, which is right here. See how I walk forward, so she walks back. I walk back, so she walks forward. That's kind of the neutral game for the CPU in UMK3. If you get it into this this mode of operation, so to speak here, you can kind of plan your next strategy accordingly. One thing you'll notice is that I have a life lead, or I do not have a life lead. Let's say I did. If I had kept her in the neutral and walked back and forth until the time ran out, she would let me do it. She would let me win the round that way. So that's one strategy you can use when you start to play as other characters, is just to get a life lead and then just do this the whole match. If you can keep this equilibrium of walking back and forward, about 8 out of 10 times I would say the CPU will stay in this little cycle and it will not venture outside it. Maybe until the timer gets really low, and at that point you know they're going to run straight at you, so you can just sweep them to end the round. But anyway, the biggest glitch that Smoke can use to abuse their AI is ironically jumping back, just like in Mortal Kombat 2. So let's see if we can get out of this bad situation we put ourselves in. Did you see what I did there with the jump back? It's going to become readily apparent as we go to the next match what's going on there. Alright, so Reptile's being kind of a jerk here. We want to get him back to that neutral. Okay, he's at the neutral. Did you see what I did? Let's watch one more time and then I'll explain it. Even when he's invisible, I still know exactly what to do. So, jumping back to beat the CPU in UMK3. What I'm essentially doing is abusing the CPU's programming, which tells it to target a player who jumps back in the neutral with a projectile. So he thinks he's going to knock me out of the air with a projectile, but what they didn't plan for was Human Smoke's teleport. CPU is wide open. And so what I'm doing is I'm jumping back and kicking so that he thinks that he can hit me with a projectile, and then immediately as I hit the ground, I'm teleport punching. And Smoke has a really easy follow-up. Even a beginner can do it. You just jump kick and press block in the air, and that leads to a throw. And once you get back in the neutral, you can back up, kick in the air again to bait another projectile, whatever it is, and then punish. It's very simple. And you can almost guarantee this works from the neutral. I got out of the neutral state of the CPU, which is, remember, you walk forward, they walk back. You walk back, they walk forward. Now, unfortunately, you are going to get into situations where you're going to have to learn the feel of what the AI will do. Like if you just watch that little ducking and blocking exchange I went through with Scorpion. I played this game so many times, I know exactly how the CPU is going to react, where it's going to try to hit me from next. So I'm just holding back and blocking in those directions, and unfortunately that's something you kind of have to learn. But I feel like as long as you know that you can jump back and bait a projectile to punish it, you have what you need to beat this game. And you just saw the quick punches into Spear, which is an old MK2 Scorpion trick. Still works in this game. Still do that. So right now I'm out of the neutral. I'm just trying to guard. Okay, now we're back in the neutral. See, this is what I was trying to get to. And now we're here. So, didn't do it that time. It's okay. Gotta get back in neutral. Okay. Just like that. This gets harder if you've got the machine set to very hard. The timing, you kind of have to spam your kick a little harder so that the AI thinks that it 100% will get you out of the air. And the great thing about Smoke is his follow-ups. You don't just have to kick and then air throw, which is block. That's the beginner way. When you start to get a little advanced, you can try something like... I messed up the combo, but you see the idea. So that's an anti-air high punch into a spear, and then the combo. You can even just do teleport punch, spear, and then a dial-a combo, or spear and uppercut. Either one works. The idea is obviously just to do as much damage as possible, so you get out of the risk of getting out of the neutral with the AI. That's the goal, is to contain the AI, do as much damage as possible, and stay as safe as possible. Some characters that extra anti-air high punch won't work on because their falling hitbox is too weird. If you're having trouble, just play it safe. Kick air throw does enough damage, do that. Just do a spear, and then a dial-a combo, or a spear and a teleport, you know, whatever you need to do. So Nightwolf, even though it looks like it doesn't hit, the timing is kind of tight, but you can still get that extra anti-air high punch for the spear. Okay, we block that. Now we're back in neutral. He's just responding to me. We're in the neutral. There are other techniques you can use. For example, after a successful uppercut, or I think a hard kick knockdown, the AI will always fall for a teleport punch. Like for example, let's say I'm ducking. Alright, just like that. I was a little slow, but if you're quick enough with that teleport punch while the CPU is still on the ground, they'll always fall for that on wake up. And you can use that teleport punch to do a containment spear and combo. Sweeps are useful in UMK3. They're not as useful against the AI as they were in 2. 9 times out of 10, if you're at full screen or even right here, and the AI runs at you, you can get a sweep off and knock them down. And anytime the AI runs at you and you sweep them out of it, you want to sweep again on wake up. The reason being, 9 times out of 10, it'll cause them to jump to the other side of the screen, and they will either try to run at you again, in which case you would just sweep and start the process over, or they'll get hit by it, or they'll just jump back and you go back to the neutral. Now we've lost to smoke, and against my better judgment we'll switch to Sektor here, because he also has a teleport punch. Now the strategy works with him, but not as good because his follow-ups aren't as good. Alright, you see that? After the uppercut, I teleport punched him, and he almost always will fall for that on wake up after a hard knockdown. Now it doesn't work in a combo for whatever reason. If it's like the second or third hit in a combo and the CPU takes an uppercut and say the last hit of a combo, they won't fall for the teleport punch on wake up. Just an odd programming quirk there. What you can do with Sektor instead of a I don't know his fatality. You can use that as an excuse to fire off a smart missile after the teleport uppercut and the jump kick. Sometimes they'll do a follow-up and it won't hit them, but hey, that's fine. As long as you're safe. Now you saw me jump in combo there, and you pretty much always want to be doing a jump in combo against the CPU when you're jumping in. Jump-in combos are a big part of UMK3, so you need to use them to your advantage, especially jump-in launchers. And there's a few situations against the CPU where it's safe to use them, and better yet, situations where they'll almost always fall for them. So one such situation, and I'll see if I can set it up, is if I can basically get in front of the CPU in the air. That would have been a good time to do it, but I didn't, because I'm bad. But hard knockdown, punch, smart missile. Unfair. It's really hard to explain this without showing it to you, but say for example I trip the CPU, or the CPU is for some reason on the ground in front of me. That's a great point to start a combo. And what you want to do is basically jump and then start the dial-a combo as you're falling onto them as they're getting up, like this. Sometimes they'll jump up and hit you with that. You just have to kind of take that. That's also another valid strategy I was doing. If you can get the CPU into a loop like this, You can do the whole round doing that, and it's so hard to put that into words what I'm doing there. But it's essentially a run-in and jump kick, and then sweeping immediately, and then turning back the other direction and kicking so that they come running into it. It's very hard to put this into words. And it works better with characters with long legs like Shiva. She has a really easy time pulling off this glitch. I don't know a fatality. I didn't plan on this being an impromptu Shiva tutorial, but it's become one. Shiva also can do this. Reptile is probably a bad choice because his projectile is pretty quick and Shiva's teleport stomp is slow. Anytime that you get a blocked jump in like that, you want to duck, because that's going to make the CPU jump straight up into the air for whatever reason, and you can uppercut them. There we go. Or they'll jump over you and you can uppercut them. Took a bad break there, but you see the point. Let's try Shiva again. Shiva is bottom tier in this game, so I think it's important to note that you can beat the game with her just like anybody else. If you'll notice, I followed him after that knockdown because I knew he would fall for the dial-a-combo jump in on that knockdown. The endurance matches are a special pain because the AI's hurt box becomes active before your hitbox, which is totally unfair, but it's just the way the game is programmed. So you may end up having to block an attack from behind or something like that. And sometimes you just get put in a situation where you take a hit no matter what. It's not really fair, but I haven't really found any way to avoid it thus far. Alright, we're in the neutral. And after that, he lands kind of close to us, so we want to sweep to make him back off. So we're going to punch, sweep, make him back off. He chose to run in. Hold duck. Pound. Sweep, make him back off. Sweep, sweep. Now we're in trouble because he's going to chip damage us. Okay, he chose to go back to neutral. That's a weird little glitch there. Duck. It's a nail biter here. Sweep. Oof. What a nightmare.
Round 3, fight. Well done.
Now we're in trouble. And sometimes I just get a little aggressive like that, and there's really nothing you can do. They get aggressive, and then you get stupid like me. And then they do a fatality on you in your tutorial video to humiliate you.
Fatality.
That's alright. So let's go back to Smoke and just demonstrate why he is the absolute best at this. Turn invisible, I don't care. And that's why he's the best, because you can do that. I may not have showed you how to beat the game with Shiva, but dadgummit if I didn't show you how to beat it with Smoke. So even though we're taking a few hits, we just want to get back in the little cycle. And see, and that's one of those bad situations. There's nothing I could do about that because CPU has advantage on endurance. If you can find a way basically to get yourself into a good neutral position when the second opponent jumps in or at the end of the screen or something, that's always the best place to be because they're going to have not only invincibility but advantage on you as soon as they jump in. I don't like this being in the corner here. Alright, good. You need to end this quickly. This is not good. We didn't want to be in this corner. Back up. Back up. Whew. You need to fatality her as quick as possible.
Wins. Fatality. Round 1. Fight.
Okay, Motaro. That's what you've all been waiting for, right? So Motaro reflects projectiles. The spear, it just goes right through him. There's no point. Most of his attacks will knock you backwards if you block them, so it's kind of bad to block them because you get to a point where he'll just overwhelm you with chip damage. If any time that you block, or he blocks, or you whiff an attack in front of him, he's going to pick you up and knock the crap out of you. He's also got that. He has a trip, and I think I'm going to lose on purpose so I can show you a character I really like to use against Motaro. They made his hurt box a lot bigger in UMK3, so you can hit him with some things you couldn't in regular MK. And I like how some characters can actually punish his trip on hit. So he hits you and you can punish him with an uppercut. I think Striker is one of those. We're about to find out. But I like to use Striker because he has the best uppercut in the game. And you saw it beat out his, whatever that move was he was going to do there. Sometimes he does that and you're just kind of screwed. Motaro is probably the least fair and least abusable of all the 3 bosses. But he does have a weakness to the auto combo. And you also want to do the jump inversion for more damage. And that was my fault. 9 times out of 10, if you at least finish your dial combo, you'll be safe. But you gotta finish it. I didn't finish there and he made me pay for it. So we're gonna try that again. I like to jump at the start of a match with Motaro in case he does the tail sweep. The fireball is probably the most dangerous thing he does. Also, Striker's uppercut has insane range, and it can just knock Motaro out of the air during jumps sometimes. Did you see that? He hit me. I was still able to punish him with that uppercut. Let's lose on purpose again so we can do some more Motaro practice.
Motaro wins. Round 3. Fight.
Kill me. So there are things that will make you take a hit for certain. One of them is just walking up to him, going up and just like whiffing an attack. He will usually punish you. If you try just a blind jump in, he'll usually block it and punish you. Things that you just don't want to do against him. Now, I said that he had a weakness to the auto combo. So let's pick Shiva. And canonically, I believe Shiva defeated Motaro in the events of Vanilla MK3 before the timeline restart. And the reason I like Shiva for this is because she has some big nasty auto combos, which will push Motaro back. She also got a pretty decent uppercut. There we go. I was having a little trouble at first. A lot of this, unfortunately, is just muscle memory. You have to fight against him several times until you start to get a feel for the situations in which it's safe to attack him. But you want to finish out the auto combo. You don't want to not finish it. Because if you don't finish it, that's when you get punished. You need that pushback and that chip damage.
Shiva wins. Flawless victory.
So let's talk about UMK3 Shao Kahn. The big thing that separates him from his MK2 counterpart is what he just did there, and that's this air knee. He also has a Wrath Hammer, which he can use as a containment move to stun you. There's an exploit you can do, which you saw me do a little bit there, which is when you hit him with an uppercut, you can actually run in and uppercut him again, and you can just do it until the end of the match. I think it's like frame perfect or something crazy like that. You have to be super precise. I did a poor job of it, but you can actually do that until the end of the match.
Shiva wins. Round 3. Fight.
At the beginning of a match with Shao Kahn, I like to just back up to see what he does, because if you're just backing up, usually you'll have enough range to punish something. If he hits you with the charge or something in the corner like that, a lot of the times, even if he hits you, you can punish it with an uppercut. You don't want to just sit back and try to bait it though, because if you do, his damage is going to outdo your uppercut damage, and we're going to lose on purpose here so we can fight him some more. And we'll go back to why Smoke is like the best character in the game. So what we need to do is catch him in a spear without being hurt. And he didn't let us do that. Shao Kahn is unfortunately kind of the run killer. He can just decide to be a total jerk and destroy you. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But you used to see a lot of people abuse this strat in the arcade back in the vanilla MK3 days, and it still works in Ultimate. And that's just kind of getting in a cycle with a spear, uppercut, spear, spear, uppercut, spear. Spear, uppercut, spear, just like that. Step back, if you miss it, step back in case he does an uppercut charge. So there you go, that's really kind of what you want to do if you just want to beat the game. UMK3 is better than MK2 in the respect that there's a lot more tricks that you can do besides just like jump back glitch and that kind of stuff. But most of them comes from just playing the game over and over and over again and learning how the CPU will react. So I didn't show you just a whole lot of those, and I apologize, this video is a bit rambling, but it's kind of hard to explain these things as they happen because you have to react to the CPU as it goes. But if you just want to beat the game, I feel like I've shown you enough so that you could pick smoke and just plow through the game. If you just wanted to beat it, you could just do that. There's some other character specific stuff you can do I may go over briefly. So Noob Saibot here, we'll see if we can beat Noob Saibot. There's an exploit that I've only found works on him because of his faster animation speed. And to do it, basically you have to trip him. We'll see if we can get him to fall for a trip. Probably not. Come on, run at me. Come on. We did it, but it killed him. So if you can get him to trip while he's really close to you and just hammer the low punch button, he'll get into this recovery cycle where he's trying to sweep you, but he can't because he keeps getting hit by the low punch, and you can just do it until his health runs out. Come on. Of course, now we can't get it to happen, but that's okay. Also, when you hold back and block in this game, or when you block, make sure you're holding back because it keeps the CPU from throwing you for whatever reason. But if you're just holding block and standing, you'll get thrown. Outstanding. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed it. This has been a CPU tutorial for UMK3. Like I said, there's a lot more strategies you just kind of have to figure out and practice to really get down in UMK3, unfortunately. But if you just want to beat the game, pick Smoke and go through and watch that video. I think it will give you much help in that direction, at least with a base of somewhere to start from, to start abusing the AI. Anyway, this is Terensu. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you.